One love, one generation for all music goers everywhere.
Those were up, and they did.
We're smart, and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for a release that came out from Valentine's Day weekend, and no guys, it is actually not the one you're probably all thinking I'm doing. You're probably thinking I'm doing an epic rant for Madam Web. Well, eventually that will happen, but not right now. Because I wanted to actually see something that was a little more worth seeing, and there's a cheap theater in my area that's like right near a McDonald's, so I'll actually wait for Madam Web to hit that place, and I can bet you guys, with the way Madam Web's performing at the box office, that's gonna be very quick. I can bet you that's gonna be hitting the cheap place fast. Because it is bombing. But it's not for Madam Web. It's for a different new release. This was a new release that came out Valentine's Day weekend, and I didn't really have time to go to the theater Valentine's Day weekend because I was in Penticton for a family event. And so I decided to postpone any theater trips for the weekend after. So, yeah, pretty much that. Did I do one Thursday? No, I don't think I did it on Thursday. I don't think so. Definitely didn't. Yeah, this was a film I saw last weekend. It was Friday night, the very last Friday of this month, because we're going to be heading into March this week. And this is going to be for the newest music biopic, Bob Marley, One Love. As you all know, just by the title, with the plot already, it's the story of how reggae icon Bob Marley overcame adversity and the journey behind his revolutionary music. Yeah, that's the plot. Pretty much about Bob Marley. So how was this made? Well, this movie was announced by Paramount Pictures around June 2018, and they were going to be doing a biographical drama based on the life of Bob Marley. And Marley's son, Ziggy Marley, would be the producer. Then in March 2021, Ronaldo Marcus Green was hired to direct the movie, and Zach Byland, the writer of the 2021 film King Richard, and Frankie Flowers and Terrence Ritter would be writing the screenplay. Then in February 2022, Kingsley Ben-Adir was cast as the title character. And after the extensive wear-long globe-spanning search by the studio, Lashana Lynch in August was joined the cast in playing Bob's wife Rita Marley. Then in February 2023, last year, there was Michael Gandolfini, Natty Marshall, James Norton, and Anthony Welsh all joined the cast for supporting roles. So after the movie was shot and marketed, Bob Marley One Love premiered at the Carib 5 in Kingston, Jamaica on January 23rd, 2024. But it wouldn't be released in the theaters in the United States by Paramount until February 14th, 2024 on Valentine's Day. It so far has grossed around the 85 million worldwide mark, and it's received mixed reviews from critics. But it's doing decently good at the box office. It was like the first big box office weekend of this year, because many films we've been getting to start off the year have not been doing good at the box office. But we all know certain blockbusters coming out this upcoming week that could actually be the first major one, likely since Oppenheimer and Barbie, because those were released around the very last major successes before the strikes. Now, as for my reaction to Bob Marley, One Love. Now, here's the thing with these musical biographies we are getting recently. They've been good for the most part, except for the one that started the trend, though. And that one was Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I love Queen's music. They were one of my favorite bands of my childhood. R.I.P. Freddie Mercury. I wish he was still around, because it's kind of shame he passed away around 1991, and I kind of wish he was still around. And I miss the music of Queen. And Rami Malek, he did fine. There was nothing wrong with him. The movie wasn't bad because of him. I thought he was one of the only good parts of the film. But I honestly, despite that one performance, I think Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie in general, just fucking sucks. Because it portrays Freddie Mercury wrong. I thought Bryan Singer did a horrible job on it, and honestly, Bryan Singer is a piece of shit in general. I separate art from the artist because I love his first two X-Men movies. I love Superman Returns. So I can separate art from the artist for those movies because I still enjoy those movies, but I hate Bryan Singer as a person. I think he's a complete piece of shit. And it just felt over preachy for no reason. Like, I don't get how the hell that movie got over $900 million worldwide and got such great reviews in a pass. Like, there's many other better musicals that came out in 2018 called Stars Born and the beginning of the year, The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. Those I liked more than Bohemian Rhapsody. Either one of those movies should have had Bohemian Rhapsody's box office instead. Stars Born in particular should have had the money Bohemian Rhapsody made. And I wish that got I wish that got more of Bohemian Rhapsody's acclaim. That movie did get awards, but I feel like that's the one that should have made the $900 million, not this movie. However, instead of because those two, Greatest Showman and Stars Born, are better movies than overrated rap shitty, as I call it. Look, I love Queen, but I hate that movie. I think that movie is shit. However, I did like Rocket Man. I did like Walk the Line for 2005 with Joaquin Phoenix. I liked recently Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. The latter, I'm surprised I actually considered liking, considering I don't really like Baz Luhrmann's films. But that's the one film of his I've liked from him so far. Now, okay, I've taken too long with this. Here we go. On with this movie. Bob Marley, One Love. It was alright. I mean, I wouldn't say it's terrible. There were things I liked about the movie. There were things I did enjoy. I liked hearing some of Bob Marley's songs again. And it's just not great. It was just Because I just feel like they barely touched up on a lot of Marley's story and just mostly did his final years. Because it just presented really an uneven experience, and just aspects that really captivate and others that just fell short. The exploration of Marley's upbringing and its surrounding circumstances are excellent and enlightening in the movie. Love story in the movie, despite not being portrayed too much, was compelling, and the portrayal of Marley's global domestic influence was also commendable. And they did remain on surface level on Bob Marley, who's a man who focused more on what his music bought. And that's definitely what happens when family does get heavily involved in the movie, because Ziggy Marley, his son, did produce this, and they will want to play safe, and that's what this movie does with the character Bob Marley. And Ziggy Marley did some stuff well with producing the film. I mean, he did he did star in that bad DreamWorks movie Shark Tale as one of the racist stereotype jellyfish, but he also did this comedy called Cool Runnings, which I do enjoy, and I think it's pretty funny, with the Jamaican bobsled team. I like that movie. And I thought he did a good job producing this, even if there were some things that felt off. The screenplay didn't really even feel like a final draft either, and some of the dialogue just felt repetitive, and some of it is just quite cringy at times. It's like some of the negatives I had with the movie. The camera work does highlight Jamaica's natural beauty, and shows some of the less camera-friendly aspects of it as well. And the CGI isn't top-notch, but it wasn't bad enough to draw attention to. What the film does kind of lack, though, is just direction. It felt disjointed. It was just kind of choppy from the beginning. It's kind of hard to keep straight what's going on and why, and the motivational events that are hard to follow, and conflicts appeared and just disappeared without a trace, and the flow and arc were just kind of non-existent in the movie. But with performances, Kingsley Ben-Adir and Lashana Lynch are the two that kill it in this movie. They're fantastic, and they're definitely good performances as their characters, especially with Kingsley as Bob Marley. He looked like Bob Marley, he acted like Bob Marley right here, and there's also the accents that I felt a little off, because sometimes they go over the top with them, and sometimes kind of to the point where it feels like a parody, but I was a little worried about that at first, but they nailed the accents right. And when this like genre is at its blandest, essential performances are really the problem. That's definitely the case here. Like Kingsley Ben-Adir has actually portrayed Bob Marley perfectly well. In fact, honestly, I thought he did an even better job than Rami Malek's Freddie Mercury did. And this movie actually comes close. Unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, this movie came close to making Marley feel human. Like how the movie, basically, like the movie starts off like you know what you're probably gonna expect. We start off with like a young Robert Nesta Marley, who is Nolan Collingwood's character. He joins his mother, they take a bus home from one home to another, and it's followed by text explaining that Bob Marley was still known today as Jamaica's biggest star, and that is true. He grew up from humble beginnings around a time of violence in Jamaica during the 70s after the nation gained its independence from Great Britain. Then we get to Bob Marley himself, who's already welling into his career. He goes to a press conference after announcing he was planning to hold a peace concert, which is called Smiling Jamaica, to unite the nation in the face of the political discourse around the time. And then some critics were fearing that Bob was making it look like it was taken aside. So yeah, but then we go back to Kingston 1976, where we see a flashback of Bob playing soccer with his friends and sons, and then thugs start firing their guns in the streets. Bob protects his sons, takes them away, telling them not to worry about what happened. And that's where he comes up with that song, "Smile with the rising sun, free little birds sit by my doorstep," that song. Then they return to their home, where Bob talks to his wife, who's named Rita, who's played by Lashana Lynch. And then they talk about the constant threat of violence around their family, and puts her on edge. Like, yeah. We kind of start off the movie in like the first of his final 4 years when he was around. Then, of course, yeah, like Bob Marley, his son Ziggy Marley, like really spent a lot of time. Ziggy really spent a lot of time with this film to ensure his father and his message were well received by viewers. And his wife, Orly Marley, like his wife Orly Marley as well, and then his wife Rita Marley was also involved in the film as producers. And despite the involvement of the family members and loved ones, like there could have at least a little more involved in the final story. But they still managed to convey Bob Marley's message of view of life well. And they do it with the help of some well-known music of the reggae artists. And the thing is, though, like we just don't really see much of his origins, like in most of his songs. Like if you're making a music biopic, like shouldn't we be seeing the origins and like how they all started? Like should we be seeing that stuff? Like I may hate Bohemian Rhapsody, but even that movie showed Queen's origins, even if it wasn't done the best way possible. Elvis also showed Elvis's origins. Rocket Man Walk the Line showed Johnny Cash and Elton John's origins. The movie doesn't really show any of that. This one. So yeah, so after Bob and Rita's talk, Bob then goes to rehearse the song "I Shot the Sheriff" with his group, the Wailers, who are easily Bob's top collaborators with all of his songs, his most well-known songs. You know, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot no deputy. Then Rhea steps out momentarily, she sees two gunmen are coming towards the house. Then a third aims his gun at her head. Then the two men enter the house, they shoot at Bob, they shoot at his friend, who's named Don Taylor. And then Rita has also been shot, but Bob gets injured from the shot, but he rises to his feet, and he gets Don and Rita to the hospital first before himself. And Bob sits by Rita's bedside, she lies unconscious, and he reminisces one night when they were teenagers, and Bob recorded Rita. Then they recover, they leave the hospital, and Bob decides to still go forward with the concert. And everyone close to him kind of sees it as a bad idea because they're scared for his safety and his family's safety, but he insists on doing it. Then the show happens, Bob goes on and performs, and he briefly hallucinates seeing the gunman that shot him in the crowd, then stops the show and reveals his injuries to the crowd, then walks off stage, decides not to go through with the show. So Rita tries to comfort him, and Bob says he has to have time for himself. So after that, in 3 months, Bob goes to London with some of his friends. But once they get there, though, they get arrested because apparently they have a bunch of cannabis. Then while Bob's in jail, While Bob and his friends are in jail, he recalls that Rita first brought him into the Ravis Story movement and thinks about witnessing his father abandon his mother as a child. He refuses to really, and also didn't want to acknowledge Bob as a son. But here's the thing, though. The one thing that really drives the movie is the music, and it's very lovely. Like, as is the general message in Love and Peace. Like, it's around the time in Marley's life when crime was high in Jamaica. Bob Marley, One Love, explores his life towards his final years. Like, he's made music, performed concerts, and it's now focusing on the album Exodus, one of his most well-known albums. Aside from making this album with the Wailers, the film's substance ends up coming down to this personal life and the crime surrounding it. It's a great showcase for the person he really was. Like, it's a good chance to, like, show the younger generation of today's world of who Bob Marley was and how much of an impact he made on the music industry, connected to people, like, connected to many people of the generations through the 80s and the 90s and long after he had passed away. Like, when I was infant, I listened to a lot of Bob Marley songs, and I was introduced to them, and I enjoyed them. Like, hell, I still love his songs today. Like, I usually, like, most of the time I like to listen to his songs in the summertime. I feel like they're good. Most of these good, well-known songs are good little summer beats, like, good summer beats to listen to while on a beach in the summertime. Like, usually it's good. Usually, like, the songs are also very great beach-like tunes you can listen to while you're relaxing on a beach in the summertime. Or tanning on a beach. Yeah, so then, like, after the jail scene, Bob decides to have a talk with his producer, who's named Chris Blackwell, who's played by James Norton, and trying to come up with ideas for a new album. Then Rita joins them. Rita decides to go join him in London, and Bob and the Wailers are trying to come up with a new sound. And Bob listens to the soundtrack to the film Exodus, and then he starts to come up with his own song of the same name, which was called Exodus. And he gets help from publicist Howard Bloom, who's played by Michael Gandolfini, and they make their next album Exodus, and it becomes a worldwide best-selling hit. Then after that, the album becomes a huge success. Bob then goes on tour throughout Europe in 1977, and he sees much more success and popularity as he travels. And we then see Bob engaging in an affair with a woman who's played by a woman named Cindy Breakspear, who's played by an actress named Ubi Myers. That during a pickup game at soccer, Bob then starts to stumble after an injury, but he brushes it off. And you find out what kind of injury it is later. Then, of course, Chris decides to invite Bob and his pals to an event. Then while Bob's at the event, he gets jealous that Rita's talking to another man. He goes outside to confront her. Then Rita hits back at him, and then the knowledge of his own multiple affairs with the children that he produced the result. Then Rita slaps Bob and tells him to keep an eye out for Don, and because Don's apparently doing some shady business behind Bob's back. And things kind of start to take a bit of a dark turn here in this surprisingly kind of a short film. And, like, most of the time, like, I still want to say some of the good stuff, though, because, like, I mentioned, like, the bad qualities are it doesn't explore much of Bob Marley's past. The movie's a little too short. It kind of feels a little rushed. It's kind of about problems that the movie has. It doesn't really focus on Marley's life a lot, just more on the final years. Like, but though, the thing is, like, it's clear they want this movie to be about hope, love, unity, the making of this definitive album called Exodus, but they do a touch on some of the tougher material, but they just don't dwell on it as much as the critics would like, and we don't, like, while we don't witness his ill health and death, like, we do his ill health and death, we don't really need to see it, though. Honestly, I don't think we need to really see that. I mean, we saw that in Bohemian Rhapsody, we saw that in Elvis, I don't think we need to see it here. But the atmosphere of the 70s is captured well. Even if some scenes are a bit too short, they don't have the depth they could have, like I've already said. And while we don't explain too much of Bob Marley's past, we are loaded with flashbacks that give us an insight to the past experiences that his mother and faceless father in his early days in Trenchtown, and which also was another song Bob Marley, Trenchtown Rock. And to his first recording session, and I think that was that was where I found out a song that I forgot even existed. It's called Simmer Down. I tried to search it for a very long time, and I finally found it after watching the film. Yeah, so it does track his musical journey from obscurity to the world stage and the revolutionary power of his music to unite people during during the more violent political times from Jamaica back then. And now, and honestly though, I kind of would have liked some more grit and showing perhaps some more adult themes. Because like if this is mostly just about his final years, like the film could have taken a bit more of a mature tone at times. I mean, now don't get me wrong, guys. I don't think the movie is terrible. It's decent. It's all right. It's not amazing, but it is but also all right and entertaining at the same time. The actors still do a good job with the parts, especially Kingsley Ben-Adir as Bob Marley, and honestly, like yeah, I think Kingsley Ben-Adir actually feels more honestly does an actually better job as Bob Marley than Ryan Malek as Freddie Mercury. Like, I kind of hope Kingsley Ben-Adir gets the same success Rami Malek got here, because I actually think he did very well with his performance. He really looks like the Bob Marley. He sounds like Bob Marley. So they got the casting for Bob Marley very well. And I also like that we get to hear him, actually get to see him sing that song jamming in a recording studio, and we actually do kind of get to see the whole thing. Actually get to kind of sing the whole thing as well. Even. I kind of wish, and I also do kind of wish we got to see some more of his other songs, because I don't think we got to see that much. But that's just me, though. And how the film ends, well, because we know this is set on his final years, and Bob tragically got cancer, and we're going to get to that soon. Because, like, after Bob and Rita's argument, Bob decides to go confront Don backstage over what Rita told him, and he begins to attack Don, and his bandmates and Rita have to pull Bob off of him. Then shortly after that, Bob pretty much visits a doctor because Rita and Chris express concerns over that dark spot on Bob's toe where he injured himself during a pickup game. Then the doctor informs Bob that he has melanoma, and the doctor recommends that he has the toe removed to stop the cancer from spreading, but Bob doesn't want to do it, and he just gets left in a state of despair over the news. Bob talks to Rita. She gives him her speech, and she inspires him to return home to Jamaica. So, around 1978, 3 years before his death, Bob goes back to Jamaica, finds a huge crowd gathering for him as the plane lands, and Bob visits his old home. It's empty. The same gunman that shot him enters the house. He asks Bob for forgiveness, and Bob says he holds no vengeance in his heart. Then Bob sits with Rita and their sons. They're around campfires. He comes up with that song, Redemption Song, which is easily probably his #1 best song. I think of all the Bob Marley songs, that one is my favorite. That one was my favorite from him. Redemption songs, these songs of freedom, it's all I ever had. Redemption songs. And then after Bob sings Redemption Songs at a campfire, that's a good campfire song also, by the way. Rita says that Bob's ready to perform again. So Bob and the Wailers unite. They get ready together for a large crowd in Jamaica for a new show, and he gets up to perform the song that the movie's named after, One Love. Let's get together. And then after, we don't really see the performance though, but we do see ending text. Every biography ends with ending text. It says that Bob Marley then passed. We all know Bob Marley sadly passed on May 11th, 1981. And then footage is shown from his One Love concert where he brought together leaders of political parties as a symbol of unity, and even stated that Exodus, and apparently Time magazine, we get to find out Exodus turned out to be one of the greatest albums of all time. And it still is. And that's just kind of it. The film's over there. If you take out the credits and the opening logos, it's really just 98 minutes long. It's not over. It's not it's not over 3 hours long. But the thing is, with a biography, it should be kind of 2.5 hours long because you're explaining the singer's life, not just their final years. Because like I said before, not terrible, but I wouldn't say it's amazing either. Because I wanted to see how some of his other songs got popular, We do see like one of the Whaler songs get popular in the flashback scene. We do see jamming, him perform jamming. We see how Exodus became popular. We don't see anything else after that. It's just more of his final years, him going to London, finding out he has getting success, finding out he has cancer, then just kind of going back. It's kind of a bit rushed. But all in all, the movie, it's passable. Not terrible, enjoyable and passable at best. So guys, in the end, Bob Marley One Love is a stream online for fans of Bob Marley that don't want to get too let down by a movie about his life that only captures the kind of the finale of his life. Anyways guys, that's it for my review of Bob Marley One Love. If you're wondering how I'm going to rate Bob Marley One Love, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you loved Bob Marley's music and want to see his life get turned to a film next, you should probably just stream this one online if you're only interested in seeing his final years. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Bob Marley One Love, I'm going to give Bob Marley One Love a 6 out of 10. There we go, guys. That's it for my review of Bob Marley One Love, so you're wondering. Well, this week a certain blockbuster is coming out this Thursday night, and I'm going to go actually see the Thursday night showing of it. So, we still have another 2024 blockbuster to review. But I'm trying to get back into this more videos now because I've got a live stream. I got a live stream on the DVDs I got from Penticton. I got a whole bunch of them because Penticton was surprisingly had a lot of affordable places. And I want to show you guys something else. This is one of the things I got from Penticton. The other thing I got here. Ta-da! Ta-da! That's right, guys. I got 3 new posters. No, 2 new Actually, yeah, 3 new posters. Oh, wait. The Aliens one was from Fan Expo, but the Kill Bill one, yeah, that was from Penticton because one of the DVD places had 2 posters. So I got a Predator poster that's outside in the hallway. I got a Kill Bill poster that's right by the cat's bed. Right above the cat's bed. It's for Volume 1. Volume 2 I may get someday. Eventually I will get Eventually I'll try to get Volume 2 and pair them together. But yeah. So, anyways guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.